Gary Haase has made over 4,000 transactions selling Pokemon cards and avoids paying taxes by using the PayPal Friends and Family payment option and cash payments. Counting only 4 of those transactions, Gary has made nearly $500,000 and openly admits to not paying taxes for these transactions. Despite what Gary claims, he has been making a lot of money selling Pokemon cards. And today, we're going to discuss his intentions to commit tax evasion and how he is stealing charity donations.
Why don't I pay taxes on the hobby? Because for the last 22 years, I have purchased more than I've sold. You know, I hate selling stuff. So you don't have to pay taxes, or you only have to pay taxes on your profits. Well, I never had a profit because I always spent more than I sold. So I do pay my taxes. With my hobbies, though, I'm incorrigible. I don't like to sell anything, so you got to make money on those cards.
Slow bros and ho-ohs, it's time for this incorrigible pillar to go. According to the IRS, almost everything you own for personal, pleasure, or investment purposes is considered a capital asset. This includes collectibles and, yes, even Pokemon cards. And anytime you sell a capital asset for more than what you paid for it, plus the cost of improvements and deductions, it's considered a gain. And it's only considered a loss if it sells for less than what you paid, plus the price of any improvements and deductions. And tax evasion is when someone willfully attempts in any manner to evade or defeat any taxes imposed by law. And a 28% tax rate on Pokemon cards isn't worth a $100,000 fine or up to 5 years in prison. But let's go ahead and take a look on E4 to see if maybe there's some sort of clue as to why Gary doesn't pay his taxes on his Pokemon cards. And yes, he is still using the AOL address. And we already have our answer. It's because he's a racist, greedy, paranoid asshole. But Gary's ignorance doesn't stop here. There are dozens of posts where Gary openly admits to tax evasion. Let's go over those. So in a thread titled How to Pay No Sales Tax on eBay Purchases, which is pretty damning within itself, Gary states, and I quote, "Don't pay taxes if possible. The thieving political hacks will just steal and waste it." Alright. What about this thread? Titled, What are the downsides to underdeclaring value? Where they're talking about setting a lesser value for items that have to go through customs. Still tax evasion, still illegal, and it also touches on a few other laws. Gary states, as far as taxes, screw 'em. Sad winky face. And if you thought that was a typo, no. Check this one out. This thread's titled Buying/Selling Outside of eBay. Gary states, you're allowed to have friends, and they count under friends/family. I signed up for PayPal in 1999, and I've sold to friends thousands of times without any PayPal interference. Those savings are normally passed on to the buyer, but if they would rather give it to PayPal, that's fine. Buy for $3,000, pocket the $100, or give it to PayPal. Whatever. Winky face. Oh, and 10 minutes before he posted that, this is what Winky Face Gary had to say. Duh. And they can audit you for tax evasion, even if you don't use PayPal at all. LOL. Some people don't want to raise red flags for whatever reason. And just because you disagree with a law, doesn't mean you get to break said law. That money goes towards schools, roads, teachers, government programs, and aid to people who need it. Scott Pratt is the owner of E4, and I don't know why he allows this activity to happen on his platform. He's also the one that recorded Gary selling off 16% ownership of his rarest Charizards. Here's what he had to say.
The full pot. I'll just spread it out to make it as clickbaity as possible.
Yeah.
But all sarcasm aside, this is definitely a historic moment in the hobby. This is something that we've reached a point now where the seriousness isn't even a question anymore. This is just yet one more high-end sale to further legitimize that inertia that already exists, not only for Pokemon, but for collectibles at large. And
so SM Pratt is acknowledging that Gary is inflating prices by force. And it's no coincidence that Gary says the worst things and reveals the most damning information whenever he's around SM Pratt versus any other YouTuber. Gary's greed and strive to avoid paying taxes on any of the cards that he sells would then push him towards NFTs and cryptocurrencies, and play a huge role in future charity scams. Let's take a look.
Again, Steve Aoki, he messaged me today saying that he was going to be dropping his soon that are going to be attached to trading cards. Oh yeah. And normally soon after he tells me, he posts it. So I think it's on his Instagram now, just under I think it's just under Steve Aoki on a story or something. But he's doing, and he has some premium cards. He has a Pokemon Illustrator. He bought a PSA 10 first edition Charizard for me. I know he has that. He has a lot of good cards, and now he can attach the NFTs to, or those are the NFTs or something. See, I'm not real good at that stuff. Yeah, that's all good. But exactly two things, exactly what you're saying, that is being done, and I guess it's a good idea. Now, the other thing is, do you know Andre Jick? Yeah. Okay. We were at a party together at Graham Stephan's house, and so we were talking, and it was during one of Logan's box breaks. Yeah. And so we were all together just eating and talking, and he mentioned to me, because I brought over cards for people that not for sale just to look at, and he said, we should do an NFT, attached to these cards, and we should really do that, Gary. And I said, well, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, but I said, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. I said, I'll certainly, do something like that. But then as what has it been, almost 2 months, as the time went on, he just didn't get around to being able to initiate it.
Actually, it just sounds like he's avoiding you.
And now I hear Steve is doing it. So it must have been a good idea because Steve has some very, very smart people around him. And so it must be a good idea. But actually, Andre and I could have done that ourselves 2 months ago. And had I known anything about it, and had he pushed me. So, well, I definitely think he would be one to make it happen. He's really dropping some great content in the crypto space. So, I don't think it's too late for you. And I think having your background, I think it could do really well. Yeah, well, I should text him after our conversation and tell him you said so. And when's he going to get on the ball and do it? Because I can't do it. I don't know how to do it, right? Yeah, tell him if he doesn't do it, I'll do it. So it's a time thing, Well, if he won't do it, you can do it.
Heh. This man claims that he can't even create a thumbnail, but yet wants to get into NFTs? How does creating a fake Pokemon card with licensed characters on it in the form of a cryptographically signed GIF beneficial towards the hobby? It doesn't, and it can't. All it does is encourage others to rip off intellectual property and to make money based on other people's works. Again, Gary only cares about the money and inflating his ego. Oh wait, I'm sorry, this is going to be for charity. At least that's what Gary tells everyone at first.
I am involved in NFTs, but of course the majority is for charity. And so, of course that's, one of my main purposes.
Wait, what? What did he just let slip?
I am involved in NFTs, but of course the majority is for charity.
And, also just let people know that a big component of this NFT is, a chunk of the proceeds will be going to the Aoki Foundation. So, if you just let people know what will happen with that money, right? What sort of benefits that will bring to, kids around the world.
Sure. Well, like almost everything else I do, now in my later years has to do with the foundation. Steve Aoki and I, we work really hard on our charity work. And we're, we just do, we're running big events. In fact, one of those big events are going to have something to do with an NFT with another one of my NFTs down the road. So, and that's going to be a monster. It's probably going to be the event of the decade for Pokemon.
Gary was asked a very simple question. How are the proceeds from this charity event going to benefit children around the world? And instead of talking about how the money was going to be allocated and what items the money was going to go towards or what programs, Gary decided to talk about himself. Now on E4, Gary states that only a certain percentage of the proceeds are going to go to charity based on which tier they reach. Meaning, depending on how much money they raise, only a certain percentage of that money is going to go towards charity. Now, Gary doesn't provide any details about the tiers publicly, nor what % is going to go to charity based on said tiers.
And then, 100%. I can't see how it can miss because I have some of the biggest people in the business, that are going to be participating in my next NFT, and I think it's just going to blow up, and I think it's going to help this one, which is the rookie NFT. I've kind of always seen it as like you have a baseball player or a soccer player, football player, and they have their first card, their rookie card, while they're just coming out of college or they're just coming off the playground, and suddenly they become a star, and a few years later they become Hall of Famers, and that little rookie card that wasn't worth hardly anything is suddenly worth tons of money.
So Gary's focus is obvious. He doesn't care about the charity, he only cares about the NFT that's being generated for him and making money off the NFT.
I have two things planned this year that are going to knock your socks off, with NFTs. And it just might help what this rookie NFT is worth. Maybe, we can all make some money on that too.
So it's been Gary's plan to inflate the price of these NFTs from the very beginning. Now take a look at this. Please note that all of the music, subtitles, and cuts are a part of the original video.
Yeah, you can't infringe on Nintendo's rights. So the Charizard is obviously a Charizard, I think, hidden behind me.
Smoking.
And the Pokeball is gone. They're going to be doing a gold sphere, for that. That's going to be the main NFT. Well, I told him, I said, I'm getting all these messages. These people want to get involved, but they don't have crypto. Like me, just to support this for the charity's sake, I would do it. But I don't have crypto. Steve has said he wants to do it, but I can't get him to hook me up with his NFT people yet. What it is, it's me, Logan Paul. I can show you my text with Logan. He totally approves this, and he wants nothing out of it. I told Logan that Steve, wants you to take a third, because he wants to get his promotion in and all that too. Okay, the last thing was because I told him that I was out with Steve Aoki today, and he agreed you should get a third of the NFT proceeds, since it really is the three of us, and I'll keep you posted. Do you have time for this? Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that would be successful enough where I could make a few bucks and put it into a trust for his little sister, for Akara, who's autistic, and throughout her life she'll need assistance.
Yeah. He's putting charity proceeds inside of his daughter's trust fund account and calling it charity. Here's another clip where he almost let it slip one time.
Like all my followers know, every single thing I do, I have a focus on the Aoki Foundation. Every single thing I do, I have a focus on autistic children and what we can do for them. Like most people know, I have a little autistic daughter who gets 12 therapy sessions a week. That can get really expensive, if you're not rich. And so I'm going to do every single thing I can, including branching out into the NFT world, which I'm no expert on, but I understand that I can bring some money in towards those kids' therapy sessions.
He barely brought it back home there. Oh, and these guys here are a part of a startup grading service that Gary's the new co-founder of, and they also have their own cryptocurrency called Collector Coin, which 20% surprisingly goes to the founding team. They are also creating their own decentralized banking and market platform where people like Gary will be able to buy and sell collectibles and join ownership pools, and offer people loans for collectibles, all without paying taxes on their earnings or any transaction. And of course, we all know the prices on there will bleed out into other markets. This is getting out of control. Pokemon used to be a community of diversity and welcomed everyone despite their earnings or collection worth. Since Gary's involvement, the TCG has been consumed by those who are only focused on monetary value. Card shops became proud to validate scalper prices, and those objecting became criticized and attacked. The man who calls himself a king, that many of his followers call a pillar in this community, the man that claims to care about mental health, has attacked the mental health of others in this community, including those that taught tens of thousands how to play the TCG, all because their opinion was different than his. He has encouraged his followers to harass and degrade anyone opposing him in an attempt to silence them, while bragging about committing federal crimes. And yet, he remains unchecked. He is currently trying to get Logan Paul to clean up this mess for him and to make it look positive. Gary Haase is a con artist. He is no king, nor does he bring any value to this hobby. He is a greedy, misogynistic, racist disease in this community, and it is time for him to go. For those looking to help, please fill out Form 3949A from the IRS and mail it to the address listed in the form. I will provide a link below, and they will keep your submission anonymous. Then contact the Pokemon Company International via Twitter, Instagram, email, etc. Make them hear your voice and demand that they address what Gary Haase is doing to this community. Slowbros and Ho-Ohs, we can do this together. You guys get a bonus round. They took another company's hardware, slapped it inside a case, put a sticker on it, called it theirs, and used their software as part of their presentation. So this entire service is a sham. So I took a look at the Steve Aoki Foundation website, and I couldn't find Gary or his wife underneath the board of advisors, and I couldn't find them underneath the charitable partners list for 2019 or 2020.
The Aoki Foundation, they do research on, or we do, because I am a big part of it. Twan, Autism Instruct, and I are a big part of it.
So Gary does research for the Aoki Foundation. What kind of research have you done? Are there any reports that I can read up on? What are some of your findings? All I can find is this one box break he did, where he butchered the box. Oh, and the reason why Gary's starting his own grading service? It's because he's no longer getting the grades he wants from PSA.
Grading company, I'm pissed. Me too. They have changed their grading parameters. I've been grading since 1995 through PSA. Okay, before Pokemon. I know what things are supposed to grade. Okay, I've graded tens of thousands of cards, and I've looked at every single one before sending it in, right? My pre-grading is spot on. Devin's is amazing pre-grading, even better than me. He's more accurate.
Then that means you're not spot on.
So anyway, I sent those in. I just got the results. My pre-grades should have given me 4 10s, 11 9s, and 1 8.
Are you sure about that?
Because every card I have is right out of the pack. So, how did that get a 7?
I think I know how.
So, okay, I got, you all see, here, this is, okay, I'm going to be bringing in, this is Twan's hand, Autism Instruct. Say hi.
Hi.
She helps me with all my stuff.
Including liking your comments?
Started. I'm going to bring Cam on now, if I can get my assistant, Autism Instruct, here. Hey, say hello. Hello. See, she's my tech expert. That's it. Blue Gorilla. Uh-huh. Okay. And then we're going to have volume.
No, this is the real cow, guys.
I think we know who he tried to blame.